This is a painting of the new version of Freya I use in my various stories. Freya is an ancient Norse goddess. This is my reborn version of Freya for my main stories, which are Chronicles of Valasa. Like Freya, I have various alternate versions of this goddess. She's one of the 10 surviving gods that I use in various versions of my story, primarily in stories that are classified as Gods Reborn or New Gods. I used reference to the sky and clouds, as well as a poser app to get the pose for the reference for this. I also looked up beautiful East Indian women, bridal jewelry, and elvish rangers to help me do the design for this. I worked in Procreate on different layers, and I used Multiply for some of the shadow layers, and I used Alpha Lock and clipping masks to help me create this digital artwork. Reborn with East Indian heritage, after escaping her god prison, she was born as the human named Prama Arya. She awoken as the goddess, regaining her memories and powers at age 34. Her human form is 5 foot 7 inches tall. She's a software engineer with a high-paying career, which was originally in New York City. She sadly broke up with her fiancé in most versions of the story as soon as she reveals she's actually the goddess Freya, as he's a horrible jerk and rejects her power, wanting to be more powerful in the relationship and unable to accept the fact that she's a very powerful goddess and he's just a human. Heartbroken at that point, but she's still a very strong individual. Different versions of the story have different things happen. Her wings are falcon-like and are not too long for her body. Some versions of her wings are 16 feet and some are up to 20, and she can also shapeshift into different forms. Often she prefers to turn into falcons or predatory forms. Her ancient form is actually elven-based rather than human, so her new form here is based on her human blood reborn as Prama, but with the elven heritage mixed in, as well as her falcon wings. I based the clothing here on elven ranger type clothing, but I colored it more like East Indian clothing. I also took inspiration from East Indian bridal jewelry for the jewelry you see here. I gave her a bow of light and show her summoning magically an arrow made of light, as that's one of her primary weapons. I have her in most of the stories. I also decided to make her jewelry gold because in most stories of Freya from ancient mythology, she likes to wear gold jewelry and has a very valuable magical gold necklace. She's twins with the god Freya, and my version of her has her over 70,000 years old and originally an elven form and is considered one of the older or eldest of the gods. Tied for second and third oldest and in power, she's the goddess who is complex and strong. Goddess of magic with many powers. Her domains include tactics, war, blood, storms, nature, wine and drugs, party, growth, arcane magic, beauty, pleasure, life, sex, plants, animals, and love. In the past, she was also referred to as the Huntress or Lady of Power, and she was said to cry golden tears and be so beautiful that people would do almost anything even just to see her for artistic inspiration. A capable and empowered woman, she's adaptable and often shifts moods rapidly. There's a lot more about her, but I just don't have time to go on and on. She's known to be the more violent of the two twins. This is just my version of Freya. I've done research on the real ancient mythology as well as other people's versions of the mythology around Freya. I recommend if you want to make up your own version that you do that as well. Research what other people have come up with as well as the ancient mythology for Earth, and then come up with your own version. I do have slightly differing alternate versions if you look into the different sub-varieties of the story. As I said, I do different iterations of my stories. I'll redo the story again and have it be slightly different, which is something fun I recommend doing. In most versions of the story, I have her be very close to her brother because in every single version of Freya, the twins, Freya and Freya, are very close. Because they were reborn to different parents and in different locations, they are for the first time separated for many years, but they come back together and live near each other and hang out a lot. After she breaks up with her fiancé, she moves to where her brother is. I have a couple different versions of the story, but usually I have Freya located in Los Angeles, so she relocates there because that's actually an option her company gives her, and, you know, she still has her human life to live, even though she turns out to be a goddess. In order to create some of the markings here, I used a multiply layer on top, whereas for the highlights and top markings on the wings and other areas, I used a regular layer. I duplicated the shadow layer and moved it on top of everything in order to deepen the shadows in the wings. That's a good tip for Procreate and other digital art programs. If your shadows aren't dark enough, just duplicate the layer. Then you can adjust the opacity of the layer to get it the way you want it to look. In New God Stories, where I focus on the children that are born from the gods and other individuals, she has a daughter which is named Aliyah. At any rate, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like me to do a picture of Aliyah or any of the other new gods or surviving gods, let me know in the comments below. I'm sorry this video is so late. I had some difficulties this week and real life stuff getting in the way of me working on my art, and I hope it's okay. Well, I do warn everyone here unless delayed. So hopefully everyone enjoyed this video and looks forward to the next one. Okay, goodbye!